You were explaining that what seems to us that if we would come today to some kind of understanding, we can intellectualize about what people were going through in the past, that they were seemingly primitive, you said, but you said that they clearly understood and realized the connection. How were they primitive? Meaning they were connected with each other. If you refer to Jews after Abraham, how were they primitive? They weren't. And even before Abraham, after Adam, 20 generations, 10 before Noah, and then 10 from Noah to Abraham. They weren't primitive. They were discerning the upper world in connection between themselves. They realized that it's their purpose in that. Therefore, they exist in this world, and therefore they did not do anything excessively. They didn't create any monuments, any palaces, statues, nothing. Nothing at all. They didn't need all that. They were busy with internal work. Each had a place to live. That was enough. They had bread, water, meat, milk, everything that's necessary. That's all, and nothing else. Look at the ancient civilization that lived here in Israel. What did they live after themselves? Nothing left, nothing. Well, there were cities, villages, but they were extremely simple. And the temple, what about the temple? What was the temple all about? It was nothing. It was 200 by 200 meters, even smaller, I think. There was nothing in it. Meaning, it was all very simple. So, everything was internal, spiritual. Therefore, when they left during the exile, they lost nothing particularly, practically. Took the book and off they were. They lived by completely different values. Look at what Greeks have accomplished. Romans. I came to Washington for the first time, and I thought to myself, "Holy moly! It's another Rome. Seriously, all these buildings, pillars, just like ancient Greece. The same in Berlin. All that millennial Reich, the successor of the Rome. The same in America, and in Europe, and even in Russia, they built somewhat in the same fashion. And here, there is nothing like that. I came here and there was nothing. Were anything built here? Or where in the history could you get something that you would want to reproduce like that? There is nothing. Completely. Meaning just a regular building, you put it up and you live in it. The rest is inside. Even your modern buildings. Nobody cares what they look like. There is no architecture. There is no any kind of special music even. There is no literature in cultural sense. And so on. Nothing of that exists. What surrounds a person as a highly developed animal. All of that is not necessary. All that's needed, all what's needed is normal living conditions, meaning to have shoes, clothes, food, so that the body exists, family, etc. And the rest is only a spirit. But we presume that those people that, in general, that lived like 1,000 years ago, I don't know, or maybe even more, they were so primitive, and today we're so cool, you know. In Europe, indeed, people were primitive. Wait a minute. Look at what was going on in Europe during medieval times, how they lived. What an injustice, filth, problems, what hygiene. Of course, it was a savagery. who could read and write, who understood the history, geography. In general, who had any kind of understanding of how he lives. Everyone only thought how to survive. Small number of people thought how to lead a fast life, and the rest thought of survival from morning till night. Something to feed yourself with. And where people slept? Somewhere in the corners. How they lived. It's now we are being shown luxury bedrooms and all of that. Well, maybe for kings there were such things, but for the rest, nothing like that. Slept like dogs on some kind of cloth, if they had any. That's all, except for landlords. They didn't take baths. They believe that that's what causes diseases, and so on. What did they do? What kind of culture they had? What they read? What they talked about? There was nothing like that. I'm not talking down on people. I'm not trying to offend them. There were people, educated people, philosophers, theologians, and so on. But I'm talking about the masses. Jews, throughout many centuries, supported the knowledge, and it was all on a certain level. Nevertheless, only in recent times, they fell 2,000 years ago from spiritual level, but the rest they kept. The lifestyle, this mechanical, external, all of that remained. Learning, education, upbringing, relationships between husband and wife, children, and so on. All of that remained through the centuries. But the rest of the world, you can't imagine the city 1,000 years ago. You would be horrified if you saw what was going on. Which city you refer to? Jewish? No, Jewish city, there's no problem. They had the same laws as they have today. The book is the same, Shulchan Aruch, the code of laws by which you live in this world. It hasn't changed in 3,000 years. How to deliver a baby, how to give birth, how to upbring a child, how to eat, how to cook, what's kosher, what's not, how to behave, marry, divorce, how to take bath, anything you want. Anything to the point which tells you with which hand to wipe your butt. Pardon. Everything is denoted to the smallest details. Human is a machine, thus it needs a manual how to use it. You also talked about these ancient people that lived in caves. They seem to us wild, but they all felt like one breed, like one whole. Before Adam, in general, what we refer to be ancient people, the cavemen. Well, they have their instinctive connections between themselves. So they live according to their own rules. Animals also have their rules. And those rules are true, natural. They have mercy upon each other. They ruled by these rules. They govern them. But did they feel others? Like, here's me and there's others. Did they feel like that? Or they felt like it is one whole solid picture, that all of them together inside of it? They didn't think. You understand? They didn't think. An animal doesn't think. It's controlled. It's life called the instinct.